Good morning, everybody. My name is Travis Cowan, Lawn Building Technologies. Thank you all for joining us. Today we have Kelly Klingeman with Peak Plus, and the subject of our coffee break is maximizing your energy profile with evaporative technology. Kelly, thank you for joining us. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Travis, and thank you everyone for everyone's time. I'm gonna run through this pretty quick. All right, Peak Plus, just give you a quick summary of what we're going to talk about. Peak Plus is the industry-leading adiabatic cooling solution for any air-cooled RTU, chiller, or remote condensing unit. We work with units from as small as 5 tons all the way up to the max tonnage that can be built. Just to give you a what we're going to talk about further on in the performance in your territory in Denver, Colorado, on a 95-degree day, the Peak Plus system will reduce the condenser inlet air temperature to 67.3. And I'll show you how we're going to do that in a couple of the other slides. Peak Plus has been around since 2005. Some of you may know us as Evaporative, same company, same technology and everything. We just changed name last year. We've been installed on hundreds of chillers and RTUs across the nation, primarily in the Southwest region where it performs best. Peak Plus is going to help you with your entire design. We can do retrofits or new construction, either one. We're going to help you throughout the entire process in the design and afterwards installation and making sure that we commission our product correctly. We also work with many of the local utilities. We've actually got a prescriptive rebate set up with Xcel Energy. It pays out $100 a ton. So that's something that definitely helps take care of those install costs for our system. Our goal today is just to introduce the technology, talk about the performance, and figure out how myself and Travis at Long can help support you in your designs. All right, let me just play this graphic for you guys so you can get an idea of what we're talking about here and see our frames in action. So our system is a proprietary adiabatic cooling system, also known as evaporative cooling, that generates significant savings for the building owner, increases the overall building efficiency and the HVAC unit efficiency. And like I mentioned, it works on virtually any air-cooled HVAC unit. So what we're doing, as you can see in that graphic, we're taking, it's a 95-degree day, your unit is breathing in that hot air, but with the Peak Plus system in place, that hot air is passing through our frame design, and we are spraying a fine mist of treated water onto our filter media. So as that hot air is passing through the wet filter media, we're essentially cooling that air, and your HVAC unit is operating like it would be a 67.3 day outside versus 95 degrees. Just to go over some of the benefits of our system. First of all, we're reducing the compressor and condenser fan energy usage by about 15 to 40%. And we see an overall average of 30% savings. So what we're reducing, the condenser inlet air temperature. And with that, we see a reduction in energy usage, obviously, and peak demand charges. Peak demand charges makes up the majority of a building owner's utility bill. So that's where they're going to see a massive amount of savings because we're addressing the peak demand charge. We're also reducing head pressure. So with our system in place, your unit is never going to experience those peak conditions. It's never going to experience, a 95-degree day with our system spraying. So that head pressure, you'll not have issues with high head pressure anymore with our system spraying. We're reducing the overall HVAC maintenance. So like I said, with head pressure reduction, your unit is just not working as hard. It's going to last longer, and you're not going to have as many issues with compressors going out or frequent coil cleanings and things like that. What we're increasing with our system, we're increasing the tonnage capability. So because your unit's not operating at those peak conditions, it's not losing that capacity that it would be losing at high head pressure events. So we're basically giving you that tonnage back that you would be losing. Another thing we're increasing is system reliability. One of our biggest customer segments is data centers. They're coming to us not only for the massive amounts of energy savings and rebates, but also just that system reliability factor. That is a facility that cannot afford for their units to go offline. So that's one of their main benefits and one of the reasons they come to us for a solution. Like I mentioned, we're also increasing the lifespan of the HVAC unit. We see on average in a 10-year period with our system installed for those 10 years, we can increase the lifespan of the HVAC unit by 2 years. So that's just another benefit there. It can offset some of the costs for a building owner to extend the life of their units and possibly come to us if it's a retrofit, come to us for a solution versus having to purchase completely new equipment. We're also increasing the protection of the coils. So with our frame design, it's almost acting as like a filter for the coil. So anything that would get trapped on your coils is instead going to get caught on the Peak Plus system. So that's part of the maintenance of our system. We're going to go into that on a next slide that goes over how to maintain the system. But basically anything that would get caught on your coils is instead going to get caught on that filter media. So you'll just hose that media down and keep your coils clean. We see customers, we've got a customer in Southern California that's currently on year 7 of not needing a coil cleaning because of our system. So that is another cost benefit there. Just some history about Peak Plus. We, as a company, we've been around since 2005. In 2015, we were selected by Southern California Edison, which is one of the nation's largest electric utilities. We were selected as their premier HVAC energy efficiency technology, our adiabatic cooling system. We were awarded this contract, which enabled us to reduce over 20 megawatts of electric demand in the greater LA County area. And we did this by installing on well over 150 buildings, and we are still maintaining those sites today. Just some example installations. I've also got a 3D model of our system that if we don't have time for it today, you can reach out to Travis and myself and we can send you a live site that you'll be able to navigate around and see our system in action. One of the important components about our system is the water, and we quote a water treatment completion kit on every single site that we have, unless a building already has a water treatment system in place. But that is imperative that we treat the water. We're installed on sites nationwide and water quality varies. So this is something that must be done. What we're doing, we're pulling water off the building supply line. We're boosting it up to pressure. We need about 60 to 70 PSI at our frames. And then we are running it through a commercial grade Kinetico water softener. That water softener is reacting with salt, the resin in the salt. So we've got a brine tank as well. And then a bladder tank just to help prevent pipe knocking with our system. And those two photos below are just some examples. On the left, that's sitting on a Bigfoot strut system just to help disperse the weight on a rooftop. And then on the right there, that is a prototype actually that we're working on, pre-skidding all of the equipment together. So if it's going inside a mechanical room or something like that, we can, put it, make it less real estate. On the topic of water, this is an interesting fact, on average in the United States, for a power plant to create 1 kilowatt hour of energy, it takes over 20 gallons of water. So the Peak Plus system uses about 1.9 to 3 gallons of water to save that same kilowatt hour of energy. So your building owners will be using a slight bit more water on site, but overall, they're going to be saving a significant amount of water for the community. So that also, some utilities will even offer a rebate for that specifically. Maintenance is required for our system, just like any mechanical system. You can't let that go. Thankfully, the maintenance of our system is pretty easy. The Kinetico water softener, you'll want to fill that with salt about once a year. You could go once every 2 years, just depending on how the site is and how we size the water equipment. The inline water filter, similar to a pool filter. So you'll just unscrew that, hose that down. You'll want to do that with your annual visits. We recommend in Colorado, you'll want to go on site about 4 to 5 times a year just to maintenance our system. And that includes startup and winterization. And the most important factor, the filter media. That's what's going to require the most attention because like I said, everything that's floating in the ambient conditions and the ambient environment is getting caught on that filter media. So it's also acting, as a filter for your coils. So all of the dust and debris is going to get caught on that. So that's part of the maintenance, is going up there, screwing into our treated water, and hosing the filter media down, and cleaning the filter media to make sure that, there's no damage or anything like that. And that's what's going to require really the most attention of our system. One of my favorite parts about our system is the performance monitoring piece. This is something that no one else in the industry is doing. This is part of our patent technology, is this controller that we've got. This controller is operating on a 4G cell signal, and it's monitoring 24/7 all of these points so that we know exactly how our system is operating, for one, and we know when to spray. So that's part of the reason that this control system is quoted on every one of our systems. As you can see, we're monitoring several points, all of your ambient conditions, your dry bulb, wet bulb, relative humidity, condenser liquid line, and a few other things. So we've got a weather station installed on one of the units. So we're monitoring all these points, and based on what our controller is reading, we know exactly when to turn on our system, when to spray, how long to spray, and what the gap times are in between our sprays, so that we are achieving the greatest effectiveness while also using the least amount of water. So this is different from other systems in the evaporative cooling industry. We're not running water consistently. We've got a controller that's monitoring all those ambient conditions, so we know exactly when when our system should turn on. This is also a great tool for the building owner. This graph that you see, this is a dashboard that the building owner is going to have access to, or the engineer. So you can go on and see a day-by-day breakdown of what the kilowatt reduction is and what the kilowatt hour savings are. So I think that's a great tool for building owners, just to verify that they are seeing savings with our system. And this is also a tool for us internally to ensure that our system is operating as it should. So one of the things that you can get set up with your maintenance team is alert. So if there's something that maybe our system should be spraying and it's not, your maintenance team or whoever is maintaining our system will get a automated real-time alert. And so they can go up, check the site, and figure out what's going on. This system can be integrated into BACnet IP, or it can be completely independent. A lot of our data center customers just want it, independent. They don't want us in their system. So that's certainly an option as well. Just to talk performance in your area specifically, in Denver, like I said, on a 95-degree day, we're able to cool that average cooled dry bulb down to 67.3. So big delta T there. And if we even go up to, let's say in Colorado, you've got 43 hours at 105, and still, that unit's never going to see conditions over 70 degrees. So that's where you're going to see a massive amount of savings. As you'll see, there's also a capacity increase. So like I mentioned, because your unit's never working at those peak conditions, you'll be gaining that capacity that you would be losing. You'll be gaining that back. So at that 95-degree day, we see a 14% increase in capacity, and also an increase in EER. And this data, whenever you've got a project that you think Peak Plus would be a good fit for, you'll send us the information. We'll put together all of this data for you. Just to go over an example, 5 50-ton RTUs in Denver, Colorado, with our adiabatic cooling system in place. This is a savings estimate. You can see we break it down month by month. We're using Excel energy tariffs, so we know, we're giving you an accurate savings estimate. So for these 5 50-ton units, we're seeing an annual savings of a little over 17,000. So a huge, that's a huge offset of costs for your building owner. And then to review capacity increase, same situation. If we're talking 5 50-ton units, let's say at the max cooled dry bulb, 78 degrees, we see a 10% increase. So from 250 as your capacity, with our system in place, you're going to see an increase 10% up to 269. So definitely something to consider. We see a lot of engineers in the design phase, utilize our system as a mandatory add-on, and it allows them to design buildings differently with different tonnage capability in mind. Some target markets just to think about where our system is really a good fit for. I would say, like I said, data centers are one of our biggest customers. A lot of education, especially with all of the indoor air quality funding that we have right now. That's another great candidate for our system. All of your K through 12 school districts, your college campuses, things like that are using air-cooled equipment. All of your medical facilities, your laboratories that are running their units 24/7 are going to also see a huge amount of savings with our system. Industrial facilities, so process chillers are another great candidate. And then lastly, commercial buildings. As we start to see everyone, get back into the office, that's another good candidate for us. And obviously we take advantage of economies of scale. I would say a not good and not the best application for us is, let's say, an Amazon distribution facility where they've got, let's say 50 to 75 5-ton, 10-ton units. With the cost of our system, needing a controller for each unit, that's not going to make the most sense. Versus if we're looking at a site with, let's say, 325-ton units, you're going to see a better value proposition for the customer when we're looking at those larger tonnage units. Okay, I've kind of wrapped it up here. I know I ran through everything fast, but you'll reach out to Travis if you've got a project that you think that Peak Plus could be a good fit for. If you want to see performance data on a project that you've got, or you're working on a new design, reach out to Travis, reach out to myself, and we will put together all of this performance data for you. It's going to give you a project ROI. It's going to show you the monthly savings, annual energy savings, everything that you would need to know. We'll provide that for you in a proposal. So you've got my email and my phone number right there. I know you all have Travis's contact as well, so feel free to reach out to him directly. Any questions that you might have, reach out to Travis. We can get on another call or set up a meeting. So I know I ran through things quick. I'll turn it over to you, Travis, if you'd like to wrap things up.
Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, I hope not all of you have my contact. I don't need everyone calling me. Reach out to your long sales engineer if you guys have any questions. We're here to help. So
Sweet.
Thank you all for joining us. Next week, Mike Jacobs is going to be presenting on domestic potable water fan coil units made easy. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.